Hello everybody, and welcome back to Let's Play a Golden Wake. Last time, our show with Mabel Cody went off pretty well, and now we fast forward to a few years later, but unfortunately Alfie does not seem very satisfied with the progression he's made over the last few years. Still, he seems to be good friends with Mr. Merrick. I mean, he's allowed in his mother's house and knows the family, and now he's been in charge of finding someone to speak at the event of the unveiling of the electric streetcars. And also Mr. Merrick was hinting at picking a mayor for Coral Gables. So, kind of thinking that maybe Alfie does have a good future ahead of him. Anyway, we need to find someone important, so let's take a look around.
Alfred Banks.
Oh, whoops, I skipped
First
something.
mayor of Coral
Sorry, let me go back to that.
I just knew this hard work would all pay off. Oh, George, you sneaky old egg. Alfred Banks, first mayor of Coral Gables. If only you could see me now, Father.
So yeah, if you didn't know, the first mayor of Coral Gables was a fictional character that was created in about 2013. So we've been given a couple locations. Now, the golf course, I'll just tell you right now, if you do things correctly the first time, you have absolutely no need to go here, but heck, I might as well show it off. The golf looks to be concentrating on his next putt. Looks like there's construction going on back there.
Nice day for it.
Yeah, nice day. Wish that building back there was done already. The noise is awfully distracting.
And there was a whole character portrait made for a guy with exactly one line. And there's nothing else to do here except if you go to this box.
Would you mind if I had one of these teas?
Help yourself.
Oh yeah, he has two lines. Sorry. You can get a golf tee, but that is the only thing you can get here, and you won't even need it. I'll show you why. A golf hole, you have no idea which number it is. Okay, let's get out of here. So, let's go to the Venetian pool. We heard about that before. And take a look. Yeah, look how nice it is. The crystal blue water of the pool looks extremely inviting on this hot day. Pity you haven't got time for a swim right now. Unfortunately, you haven't got your swimming clothes on hand. Besides, you have more pressing matters to attend to. And there should be some history here.
Several of the homes and buildings in Coral Gables are built from coral rock, and that coral rock was taken from a quarry, which was converted into the Venetian pool in 1924. It still exists today and is the largest freshwater pool in the United States, using 820,000 gallons of fresh water a day. As the name would suggest, the pool was modeled to look like a Venetian lagoon, with grottos, waterfalls, and even a gondola platform at one point. In addition to being a public pool, during the 1920s there were also aquatic shows, music performances, and speeches. A particularly famous speech giver was William Jennings Bryan. Now, there's a bit of artistic license taken in this game, with Alfie convincing Bryan to work for George Merrick. By 1925, he had already been employed by Coral Gables for about a year or so. William Jennings Bryan was a leading politician of the day. He had been nominated 3 times as the Democratic presidential candidate. He moved down to Coconut Grove in 1913 and was hired by George Merrick to speak at the Venetian pool at a salary of $100,000 a year.
Alright, so a little bit of a spoiler about who we'll be recruiting, but you probably never heard the guy. I'm not even sure who this guy is besides a politician, I guess. Before I go over to him, if you go into this doorway, there are lockers here, and if you mess up convincing the guy, then, well, you know what, here are lockers, and so you'll know what I'll explain when I explain it, which will be later. So, here we have an older gentleman. An old gentleman is lounging around on a chair in a full suit. He looks incredibly familiar.
Begging your pardon.
What is it, boy?
And he has a very scrunchy face.
I'm sorry to bother you, but you look incredibly familiar. Have we met?
Depends. You're not a politician, are you?
No.
Didn't think so. You look too clean. I'm William Jennings Bryan. You may have heard of me if you've read a newspaper in the last 30 years.
Of course. Pleasure to meet you, Mr. Bryan. My name's Alfie Banks. I work with George Merrick on the Coral Gables Development Project.
I'm sure that's very exciting work, young man. You tell Mr. Merrick that this pool of his is quite enjoyable.
If I'm not mistaken, you're quite the advocate of prohibition, aren't you?
You bet your buttons I am. These freewheeling wets must be going through a tough time, not having been able to drink in all these years. I was having a conversation with one just last week. He was complaining about limiting freedoms by not allowing the enjoyment of alcohol. Do you know what I said to him? I said, well, if you need it so much, why don't you just call up your pal, Charles Darwin, and have him evolve you an extra hand to slap yourself in the face? Ha! You should have seen the look on him. I love throwing their ridiculous rhetoric back in their faces.
Okay.
Could I be bold enough to ask you for a huge favor?
I'd say that is fairly bold, seeing as we've just met, but boldness is a quality I admire. Ask away.
The thing is, Mr. Merrick is having a ceremony tomorrow to unveil the new line of streetcars, and I think it would be an asset to have someone as famous as you there to give a speech.
Not interested. Streetcars are just the cousins of railroads.
I don't quite follow.
Now is not the time for a debate, son. Suffice it to say that the corporations running the streetcars don't represent the interests of the common man. And I very much care about the interests of the common man. So you'll understand if I politely decline your proposal.
Yeah, not a huge fan of this guy, because him, like politicians of today, you know, want to limit the freedoms of people and take down, you know, free enterprise and capitalism because they have this assumption that somehow the government needs to control everyone in order for everyone to have never mind. Sorry, not meaning to get political.
Mr. Bryan, if you would just listen a moment, I think I can show you that speaking at the event won't be such a terrible thing.
Well, the least I can do is offer you the courtesy of my ears. Have at it, boy.
Alright,
Right.
so,
You think I should speak at this rally sponsored by the Streetcar Corporation? I eagerly await your reasoning.
So let's see what this guy's about. Cheap Suit, the Great Commoner, History of the Igarian Revolt. He's a populist. Alright, so, I'm not sure I agree with that if he agrees with limiting people, but he claims to, care about the good of his fellow man, even though the way he goes about it isn't the best. So let's see, the streetcar companies aren't involved at all in the rally. Having you at the event will generate lots of publicity. Merrick cares about the people, not profits. He wants a nice community. So let's placate.
My boss, Mr. Merrick, he cares about the people. You ought to hear him talk. He doesn't care about profits. He just wants to build a community people can enjoy.
Is that so? Well, he sounds like a man I could respect. I have to admit, what I've seen so far of his project has been inspiring. That he's doing it for the sake of the people is even more so. Not to be rude, but what exactly is the point of this rally, if I might ask?
Yeah, the streetcars will help people, but that doesn't mean George Merrick isn't going to be making money. He is. But it's for a product that they can use. Alright. To inform the community as much as possible, purely for their benefit. Want to convince people to buy property? This is a business after all. I like that argument. Helping people make up their minds if they're on the fence so they can buy. Let's do awareness.
We're trying to let the community know what the Gables has to offer. It's merely to benefit those who don't know about it and may be interested in moving there.
Sounds noble enough. I can support that motivation. I'm sure you understand my caution at lending my support. What sort of image is Merrick trying to go for?
Yeah, by the way, if you do get this all right, then of course you get an achievement, as well as aiding the achievement at the end of the game for convincing everybody, without using the cello intuition, of course. But I already used it. City of the future, modern convenience and technology for all. City beautiful, aesthetics are priority number 1. Tropical paradise, sunny days and hot nights. The one he wants, I believe, is beauty.
He's focusing on aesthetics. Coral Gables is the city beautiful.
The city beautiful. I do like the sound of that. I'd say it's fairly admirable to be concerned with how your city looks. You don't find that ideal in many real estate types these days.
Listen, Mr. Bryan, I'm not going to take up much more of your day. I just want you to consider my offer one last time.
And finally, nobody but you will bring in the crowds. Lending your support will prove your good heart and charitable nature. Your presence will make sure people have proper ideals and morals. Yeah, whatever, Mr. Smug Morally Superior.
Your presence at the rally will ensure that the people leave with the proper ideals and finely tuned moral compasses.
Well, when you put it that way, it does make the prospect sound considerably more appealing.
So what do you say?
All right, you convinced me. You let Mr. Merrick know I'll speak at that rally. Just tell me where and when I need to be there.
I'll be sure to pass along the message.
Alright. So we got him, and you know what? I've never actually done it before, but I kind of do want to see what happens if you fail that and what you have to do afterwards. So I'm going to save here and restore over there, and we'll see what happens together. Okay, so I restored, and well, I went back, and we didn't convince him. So what happens is I have a golf tee, and when you come in here, maybe I have to leave and come back. So exit to map. And go back to the pool. Oh, I remember. Okay. Yeah, because I actually looked this up before I started this
Begging your
episode.
pardon.
Weather.
Some weather we're having, isn't it?
Hot as blazes, but my doctor told me I needed to move south for my health.
Aren't you uncomfortable lying out here in a full black suit?
We all need to make sacrifices in life, young man. In any case, I have removed my socks and shoes, which helps. The pool is kind enough to provide lockers. Not having to carry around my personal possessions is quite helpful.
I'll let you get back to your sunbathing.
Appreciated.
Okay, so now that we talked to him about that... There it is. We see a sock sticking out, which kind of wiggled his way out somehow. I don't know if he hasn't washed them and they just start moving on their own or what. But a closer examination, you find the sock has the initials WJB monogrammed on the ankle. You stuff the sock back into the locker. So we have this golf tee. Let's see if we can get it into there. Hoping this will work, you wedge the metal tip of the golf tee between the door and the frame. After wiggling around for a few minutes, the locker comes open, but not before the golf tee snaps in half. Inside the locker, you find a pair of shoes, socks, and a letter which you unfold and read. Dear William, how are you enjoying Miami? I believe I shall be visiting you soon. I dread each winter more than the last. From what you've told me, it sounds like quite an interesting place, especially the anecdote about ex-Commissioner Miller. What a disgrace. Looking forward to hearing from you soon, Jonathan. You replace the letter and close the lockers. You then toss away the broken golf tee. It's always convenient that when you don't need an item anymore, it just breaks. That's like the go-to adventure game thing. You use the item, it broke, you throw it away.
Begging your pardon.
What's really clever is when an item breaks and then you get two different items you can use.
I thought you might be interested to know that Jeremiah Miller will be speaking at tomorrow's dedication ceremony for Coral Gables.
What? Miller? I thought that booze hound had been disgraced out of office a few years back.
Apparently not. He's the main speaker.
Well, not if I have anything to say about it. You tell Merrick that I'll be the one giving the speech tomorrow. I am not letting his community be tainted from the get-go.
I'll be sure to pass on the message. I'll let you get back to your sunbathing.
Appreciated.
So yeah, then that's how you get him to speak there if you failed. Because he doesn't like Jeremiah Miller because he's so superior to him. Wait, but let me load the one where I did succeed because I prefer that one, even though it makes no difference at this point. And let us leave. And go tell Mr. Merrick what we have accomplished.
George, I've managed to recruit William Jennings Bryan for the rally tomorrow.
You don't say. That's fantastic. Excellent work, Alfie. This will be a great boon to publicity. Make sure you're there bright and early tomorrow. I want you standing next to me when we make the announcements.
You've got it. See you tomorrow.
Alright. Place of honor.
And so you can all look forward to a bright future in this, the City Beautiful.
Thank you, Mr. Bryan. May I say it's been an honor and a privilege to have you here with us today. Now then, ladies and gentlemen, before we conclude and launch our fleet of streetcars, bringing Coral Gables into the modern age, there's one more matter to attend to. I want to take this opportunity to thank Alfie Banks. Without his hard work, Coral Gables wouldn't even be close to where it is today. Which brings me to the last order of business. As you all know, we have been incorporated as a city, and every city deserves a mayor. So without further ado, it gives me great pleasure to announce the first mayor of the city of Coral Gables.
close your eyes and take a deep breath. Chest swelled with pride, you prepare to step forward.
Edward Doc Dammers.
Thank you, George. It's an honor. People of Coral Gables, allow me to express my excitement at this wonderful opportunity. As your mayor, I guarantee a standard of living like no other.
Would you excuse me?
Biltmore Hotel opens at last. And, things have been interesting the past year, and changes all around. Although George's dream project, the Biltmore Hotel, has finally opened, there have been signs that the real estate bubble is on the brink of bursting, and that Prince Vladimir's sinking is something that happened. Oh, whoa.
Well, well, if it isn't Alfie Banks. Fancy running into you at the Biltmore. I thought you'd picked up and gone back to New York. Where have you been?
Okay, so here's another one where if you do good things, you can get an achievement at the end. So let's tell the truth.
I've been keeping a low profile on purpose, if you must know.
Oh, come on. You can't still be sore about being snubbed for mayor, can you?
How did you...
I'm a journalist, Banks. It's my job to notice things. It's been over a year. Can't you let it go?
It's just... I feel like all the work I've put in over the past few years has meant nothing. Honestly, what do I have to show for it? I came down here to restore my family name, to honor my father's legacy. And instead, I've just been going around running errands like a fool.
I'm gonna let you in on a little secret, Banks. If you're looking for a pat on the back every time you make a sale, Merrick's outfit might not be for you. Not to say he's ungrateful, he's just extremely focused and he knows how to take advantage of his resources.
Take advantage is right.
Anyway, I hate to put a damper on your pity party, but I came here tonight as a reporter, and I think you ought to know there's a big storm headed this way.
What?
Yep, they're saying it's going to be a pretty big hurricane. You might want to get home while you still have one.
I'm sure they're just exaggerating. Wouldn't they have said something sooner?
Weather's not easy to predict.
Well, I appreciate the warning, but I'm sure things will be fine.
Suit yourself. I'm going to notify the people in charge of this party.
Well then.
I guess she has a point. No reason to stick around here moping. I'd better get home.
Anyway, let me first say that this is my favorite scene of the game. If you're a veteran of old adventure games like from Sierra and LucasArts and stuff, like I am, then you would feel the same way seeing this, because in no other, 16, 34-bit, whatever adventure game has a scene like this happen. So many people rotoscoped all into one scene, all doing the Charleston, all, doing all these different things. This is an amazing scene to behold. I mean, we kind of take for granted now that we have, 3D graphics and all this is pretty easy to pull off in those, but to have a game with like this and to have all this going on the screen at once is really amazing. And it's great to behold. But anyway, back to Alfie's situation. This is one I'm always on the fence about, because I can understand his position that he feels like he, deserves a lot for all the hard work he's done, and that he's kind of, not treated like, the model employee is. But at the same time, I can also understand that, Merrick has his employees, and they need to do what they need to do, and that's what you do if you're employed under someone. And if you don't like it, then you can move on. So, I don't know. Plus, Doc Dammers had been working for Mr. Merrick for longer, was a better salesman. I mean, that doesn't downplay what Alfie did, but at the same time, I think Doc was the one who earned it. But, oh well. Is there any history here? I don't think there is. Oh, there is. Oh yeah, because it's talking about the storm.
The hurricane of 1926 hit on September 18th, 1926. It was a Category 4 storm, which meant that its highest winds reached 145 miles per hour. But since records weren't what they are today, we can't exactly be certain of that data. The problem with the 1926 hurricane was that since Miami was still such a young city and this was the first major hurricane at a time when there was so much of a population, most people weren't evacuated, especially because the hurricane warning wasn't issued until just a few hours before the storm made landfall. Since people had very little experience with hurricanes, when the eye of the storm passed through the city, they figured that the storm was over, so several people went outside to survey the damage. Unfortunately, the winds picked up again rather quickly, and a lot of people were injured or killed. The hurricane of 1926 pretty much devastated Miami. Some parts of the city were affected more than others, downtown especially. To this day, adjusting for inflation, it's still listed as the #1 most devastating hurricane in the history of the United States, having caused $164.8 billion in damage.
Wow, that is crazy. Yeah, if you listen to the commentary here, Francisco Gonzalez talks about how he actually was able to go to a party that was like 20s themed and people were doing the Charleston, and he's able to film them and rotoscope all their moves into this, so that's pretty cool. I love how he went just all out with this game. So, Alfie is unhappy, and it seems that there is a storm coming. Oh, well, something else I should mention. When on the newspaper when I talked about that ship sinking in the harbor, that also caused a huge problem because it was blocking the harbor because it was a big ship. Other ships weren't able to come in, and that caused some issues, which led to the downfall of the economy here in Florida. So yeah, that wasn't good. So how will we deal with this storm? Well, you're just gonna have to find out next time on Let's Play a Golden Wake. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.